Until then, goodbye.
If you'd like more information from tonight's programme, you'll find it on the Channel 4 website at the address shown, www.channel4.com.
When you go abroad, are you proud to be British? How do we measure up against other nations? Are the Japanese always polite? Americans brash?
You know, for $1,000, I would want one that flies.
Will the Germans always back the sunbeds? Cultural stereotypes put to the test secretly in The Tourist Trap, Tuesday at 9 on 4.
A country struggling with a huge increase in the rape of children. Dispatches exposes the shame of the new South Africa. Next.
The key is inside you to open your mind. You know what is out there, your heart can be blind. Open your eyes and open your mind. Open your thoughts, don't stay behind. Nescafe, open up, open up. Nescafe.
Deeply soft, velvety smooth. Experience the touch of new Kleenex Double Velvet.
Not since fluoride toothpaste has there been an advance like long-lasting Colgate Total. It's the only one with an antibacterial shield, proven to protect for 12 hours. Not just against cavities, but also against bacteria that cause plaque, tartar, and gum disease. For 12-hour protection, brush with long-lasting Colgate Total. The one with the 12-hour shield.
Enjoy one of Nescafe's great tasting coffees.
Nescafe.
On arrival, some visitors to Britain are locked up for 6 months. Some visitors are imprisoned in damp, filthy cages. Some of them don't survive. From a nation of animal lovers, it's quite a welcome. Quarantine, the shocking truth. A new series of Undercover Britain, Tuesday, 9:30 on 4. This is 4. Tonight's dispatches contains disturbing accounts of the sexual abuse of children, which viewers may find disturbing.
There's a new war in South Africa, a war waged by men against children. The country's violent past has returned to plague the next generation. Thousands of children are coming forward to tell their painful stories. Tonight, Dispatches investigates the alarming increase in child rape in the new South Africa.
I couldn't open the door and run down the stairs. It was really disgusting. I couldn't do anything to stop him.
I'd beg him to stop and he'd say no. He said, I'm a young girl and I must learn about these things. I felt that a part of me was gone without me even knowing about it.
Vat my verkrag en toe heilig, toe maak ek my mond toe en toe heilig. Ek voel sleg. Voel hartseer.
Okay, now we just want to do this hair thing.
3.5-year-old CJ was sexually abused for months at the creche he attended while his mother went to work. The owner has been arrested and charged with several counts of sodomy.
There's the mommy, that's the cat, and there's the kitten. He was raped. He's 3.5 years old. He was raped by an adult man, which was in his 40s. Are you my mother? He asked.
And he said no.
The psychological damage to CJ is immense. His psychiatrist believes it will be years before he comes to terms with what has happened.
The nightmares is the thing that I think kills me the most, because he's at his most vulnerable. He's not even, he cannot tell you a lie. He cannot pretend. He's a sleeping child, and the horror that comes out, and the crying, and the begging for help, I think that is the part that absolutely rips my heart and my soul out of my body. That's the part that I think kills me the most.
Since the end of apartheid, the number of reported cases of child rape in South Africa has almost trebled. Last year, 20,000 children were reported to have been indecently assaulted, sodomized, or raped. The real figure is much higher. Police experts say that as many as 500,000 children may have been attacked in 1997. In this one primary school, all 38 children gathered in this classroom are known to have been sexually assaulted. The country is facing a major social crisis, and South Africans are struggling for an explanation.
We're not sure whether it is because people are speaking out or it is because indeed it is increasing. But nevertheless, I think what concerns us is that there is an increase in violence against women, sexual offenses and child abuse.
Child rape has increased in all communities, black, white, rich and poor. The scale of the problem is such that some schools are simply swamped by it.
I think we're scratching the surface. In this school only, I've been working with 44, 45 cases in 1 year. And at the moment, with the work that I'm doing now, I'm horrified myself. I really am. I can get up to 17 calls a day of new cases coming in. It's just enormous.
Like many poor communities in South Africa, Khayelitsha is plagued by the casual rape of small children. Growing anger with rapists frequently spills over into mob violence. Bystanders say this man raped a 5-year-old child 3 days ago.
NgoLwesihlanu bendisemsebenzini ndifika kusithiwa umntana wami uRachel. Ndiye ndathi mna ukumjonga kwam noxa ndingamazi ke umntu oRachel ndiye ndafika ipenti yakhe inegazi neloko benxibele inegazi ezithoyilethe. Kodwa amapolisa awanakwazi uyithatha le nxaxheba yalo mntana, funeka phaya siye nento esiqinisekileyo ngayo.
Bethwa ngantoni?
Bethwa nangamatye nangepali neentuku zihlangu.
Mamelani ke nongoko nimfowunile u-1011.
Saphuma ke apho saya komnye unompilo. Wathi lo nompilo hayi bona indima yeraping abayithathi. Kufuneka thina sihambe sekwi-social worker. Masese sihlale silindele umvulo. Kodwa umntana lona yena zencede ndingamhlali. Ndiye ndahlala ke. Kusasa namhlanje ndivukile ndamthatha ndaye ku-private doctor. But i-private doctor ayikwazi ukuyithatha inxaxheba ye-raping. Kufuneka ndihambe ndiye e-police station ukuze amapolisa andithathe asele umntana kwagqirha ngokokwawo.
Umntana bengandikhombi kuqala. Anqonqoziswa kwathiwa makathi ndim. Akho mntu umnqandeleyo.
Bakubethe bakhwele bezehlela bade bakuyeka? Bamyeka nje?
Ngeka kufika omnye utata wathi ngoba tata waphathe mandimkiswe phaa endlini yakhe.
Intliziyo yam ibuhlungu ukuba ndinale ngcinga yokuba lo mntu ureyiphe lo mntana. Lo mntana ndinqwenela ukuthi ndimfundise ukuze lo mntana ndifumane likhulu apha kuye, okanye lo mntana uzawuthatha indoda aze angafumani mntana kuba uye wafumana ukwenzakaliswa ngumntu onentlalo naye.
Wonke nje umuntu ohlala apha eKrisane bangasinceda jone nantanga ziphaya ebaleni. Nabantwana ningeza nabo sikose ningabashiyi.
The incidence of child rape in Khayelitsha is now so high that community members have come together in an effort to deal with the problem. Calling themselves Eyes on the Child, they have the legal right to intervene in abuse cases before others take violent retribution.
Nako ke naye bethunana uyicacisa kakhulu ba xa kusenzeka lento kudla ngoba abahlali noko babe kweza meko zokucaphuka nomsindo beze bonke begxalathelana. So ke kufuneka ke kulaa ndawo leyana abe khona ke umthuthuzeli.
Eyes on the Child has just heard that 6-year-old Andisiwa has been raped by a neighbour. Before they take her to the authorities, they begin the first stage of counselling.
Mos wena uzayithetha lento mos uqeda ubaxelela umama wakho ne umama wayazi wena ukho rongo mosisisi ne kanibonisa wayisenza ntoni ngokahleli phezu kwakho sisi kanibonisa sisi intuthu wakho tu ngibonisa sisi ukuthi wayisenza ntoni ngalo mzuzu wayesithi kambethe ke ngibone ukuzawuthini xa umbethayo kanibonisa ya ukubuya mcakela yo umthini ke ngoku umlahle phi ke ngoku mlahle kude ke sisi mlahle kude umthini umlibale uthi makemke lo bhuti lona ungazi ubuphinda umbone nini
The alleged rapist has been caught. He lives a few houses away from Andisiwa and has frequently been seen outside her house. Before they turn him over to the police, the community confronts him with Andisiwa's allegations.
Uzuthetha nto mna nangani torho kuba shem amatyala andiqhelile nomnye kwawufikile phaa endlini kwathiwa naye beleli kum kodwa kangalali kum intombazana ingaka indala ke yona ke yaxoxwa loo nto yaphela wabengayazi yena uba ebeleli kum nalo kwapha ngasendlini kodwa ke ndiyazithethelelela mna andazi into torhwana eva ndihlelele endlini ngenkaba ndingahlelanga endlini ngendingafunyanwa zinto ezinjengezi.
Because of eyes on the child's intervention, Andisiwa gets immediate attention from the police, unlike the majority of children raped in South Africa. Now she must make a formal and detailed statement to a male police officer.
Kaloku chazela ubhuti izimango zenza njani sisi xa elele phezu kwakho. Ntoni ayenzayo xa senza izimanga? Kaloku mamela usisi, andisiwe. Mamela njonga kungalo usisi. Ubhuti Zola ulele phezu kwakho ne. Xa gqibela phezu kwakho akhulule ibhruku yakhe ne-underpants yakhe ne. And then enze ntoni ke ngosisi? Ayifake njalo apha kuyo incanca yakhe sisi. Bekunjani kubhuti Zola besenzela laa nto kuwe? Ubuyithanda wena okanye bekubuhlungu okanye ubungayithandi laa nto?
The suspect has been arrested.
Okay,
Andisiwa is taken to a hospital for medical examination. The district surgeon confirms that Andisiwa has been raped.
What causes this evil? Then you start looking at the breakdown in family life, which started with the migratory labor system, when people had to leave their common households to work in the cities. They left their wives to be cared for by other men. This led to the death of the marital institution, because no longer were children used to fathers and mothers together. The concept of family died.
Apartheid, it smashed families and it smashed communities. So those holding containers for children, where children were safe within their families with some kind of norms, it smashed that safe container. It's broken down any respect for the role of the wife or the mother. In a society where children aren't that important, I mean, I think that's a direct result of apartheid.
Not all child rape is casual. Nozuko was regularly raped by her uncle when she was 8. She kept her secret for years, but is now taking him to court. Nozuko is just one of thousands of young girls now coming forward with accusations of previous abuse. These older cases are adding to the huge volume of complaints of child rape in the new South Africa. Nozuko wanted to tell us her story as a rehearsal for what is certain to be an ordeal in the courtroom.
It's because yakutya apha ngaphakathi. Yabo ngoku uyazophisa nje niyaqonda sisi. Uyazophisa ngoku kanti xa uthule nje uthetha njena u-alright awusokuphinda uphume lento iphume apha eziphumlweni yakho.
uzokhwela phezu kwam. Emveni koko uzondiqinisa pha. Ayife ngokwakhe.
Okay, barayithi ngoku. Ndathetha kakuhle ngoku. Oyigqibele kumama yedwa ne? Ya. Uzaba right ke ngona. The more uthetha, the more uzaba right.
Ayife ngokwakhe ncinci apha kum. Athi ugqiba kwakhe. Ndingandilantuzi. Ugqiba kwakhe uzophuma. Ndiphakame ebhedini. Emveni koko akazundihoya. Iimpahla zam ndizawunxibela ngokwam. Wathi ke emveni koko ukuba ndiye ndaxelela umntu mna uzawundibulala.
But do young girls like Nozuko have any real chance of getting justice in a South African court?
In an accident like that, you would call the police. But they can't arrange your insurance, can they? That's the job of the AA. I was really surprised when they had the best deal for me. AA car insurance cost less than I thought. Make sure you give them a call on 0800 444 777.
Oh, hello. Did you have a gnome? Only I've seen him run him over with his little fishing rod. Sorry about that. Anyway, that'll be a tenner, please. Not very nice, is it? Charging people for bad news. That's why, if you need to arrange an overdraft, an Abbey National bank account doesn't add to it by charging a fee. Or for a letter telling you about it. Did you have a greenhouse?
Abbey National, because life's complicated enough.
Breakdown is one of the great thrillers of 1998.
My wife did not leave me.
Kurt Russell has never been better.
Where is she?
Breakdown.
Bell's Whisky. Every drop aged 8 years.
Hello? Hello, I see you've got a car for sale.
Yes, that's right.
Good. I'll be around before lunch.
Fine.
From the makers of T-Cut and Triple Wax, new T-Cut Colour Fast. After washing your car, use T-Cut Colour Fast to quickly restore lightly scratched and dull paintwork, enriching the colour and adding a deep triple wax shine that lasts. New T-Cut Colour Fast, the easy way to clean, restore and wax your car. With brilliant results.
Five, six, seven medium wave Cape Talk. My name's Lisa Child. This is the Lisa Child Show, and today we are in conversation with a child abuser. His voice obviously has been tweaked to protect his identity. He was a teacher at a high school. Jeffrey, what exactly did you do to these girls?
It varied from individual to individual.
I forced him to touch my penis or masturbate me. There were girls whom I finger raped. Because of my position, they felt scared, they felt threatened.
Generally, I would say, most families in South Africa, there's a domineering father. And the other thing which also made it quite easy, besides the fact that I was already in an authoritarian position as a teacher, was probably more in South Africa, the children are taught from an early age. You respect your elders, you listen to them, and you do what they say. So the child grows up with that guilt. If I say no to anyone, I'm a rude child. Therefore, it gives abusers so much more open territory.
In Johannesburg, the backlog of child abuse cases is so great that the police have taken to arresting perpetrators in batches on fortnightly arrest nights. South Africans are searching for the cause of the epidemic of child rape.
I think we all grew up in an abnormal country, in abnormal times, and we are all touched by the violence. It doesn't matter if I have a white skin or a black skin, or in some way or the other, it's changed all of us.
Whichever side of the political spectrum you were on, to all intents and purposes, violence had become socially sanctioned as acceptable in the society, as a means of resolving conflict, as a means of attaining change. Once that barrier is overcome in one dimension of people's lives, it becomes considerably easier to do so in others.
What apartheid has done to the white male is perhaps also given them a sense of entitlement. And now that we've had this transition, they're left with their feelings of entitlement, and they're not really entitled to much. I think that the white male was very involved with the violence as the oppressors, and there's nowhere to put that anymore. Many of those people, although they perpetrated the most horrific acts of violence, are stuck within it, and they haven't been treated. And so we see a lot of battery, wife battery, and I think abuse coming out of untreated trauma.
Scotch Madlope was the commander of an ANC military group during the Civil War of the early 1990s. He is haunted by personal memories of the violence and believes he understands why others turn to child rape.
What happened here is that there were fightings between the hostels and the township youth. Many people were killed here in the station. Even here on the lines, while people were on the lines buying tickets, someone would just come and shoot. The kind of killing which I got involved in is executions. We'll make the people to kneel down on their knees. And then sometimes you say to him, open your mouth, and you put a gun inside his mouth and shoot him. Some of the guys, they can't cope with sleeping. When they sleep, they dream about those things. In the morning, you wake up, you know that you're not going anywhere, you're not doing nothing. You go back to school, you find that you have jumped almost 4 years of schooling. Now you've got to sit down with small boys in the class. Then sometimes they tease you. Then when they tease you, you beat them. You don't even like beating them, but you end up beating them. They forget what they used to say to you. Because in the times of fighting, they took you as a hero. They neglect you now. Sitting in that corner, feeling powerless, having no money, having no nothing, you know. I think there is a big possibility that you can take advantage on young children. You can take advantage on young girls whom you think they be less power. They'll have no power.
A silent protest outside a Johannesburg courthouse. Black and white are united in anger against a system which fails to protect their children. Families say their children suffer indifference at the hands of the police and the courts. Cornelia, whose 3.5-year-old son was sodomized, feels her child has been abused by the criminal justice system.
There was nobody to reach out to you, and nobody who believed you straight off. Like I believed my son when he told me, from the second he told me, I believed every word he said to me. My experience with the courts were horrible. It was absolutely horrible. The first day when we arrived at court, this person who sexually abused my son, who sodomized him, had carte blanche. He could go where he wanted to. He could walk any passage he wanted. He could use any toilet. He could actually, he could go where he wanted to. Our children were locked up in between the buildings in a little concrete square where there were stompies, bottles, Coke tins, and it was a hot day. They were stuck there for about 3 hours before my son was called in to testify.
They arrive at court extremely traumatized. I mean, a court is not a normal place for a child to be in. Every day in court and deal with up to between 5 and 11 cases a day. In other words, those cases need preparation as well. So on a special case like a child abuse case, you have to fit that in between the rest of your workload. So the trend basically in Johannesburg court is that you consult with your witness. That mostly is only done in the morning before the trial.
You must understand how when you find out your child's been sexually molested, raped, sodomized, incest, how the system doesn't work for you.
Most of our training happens in court. In other words, you listen to a psychologist, you listen to a medical doctor. Now you know a little bit more about child abuse than you knew in your previous case. And that's not a very favored situation, because at the end of the day, a lot of cases are going to be lost in order for the prosecutors to train themselves. And yes, one would expect that a magistrate would know as much about child abuse as they would know about fraud, but I doubt that seriously.
Parents complain that the courts are ignorant of the difficulties small children have in testifying. Last year, 7-year-old Maureen accused a neighbour of rape. The medical report confirmed the assault, but in court, she confused events before the rape and gave the wrong date for the attack. Because of these small discrepancies in her evidence, the accused was acquitted.
I mean, even an adult can forget. You can forget sometimes. But a 7-year-old must be as a date, and magistrates expect the right date from a child. Meanwhile, everybody's shouting. The child has been raped, but the magistrates still stick on a date.
In his judgment, the magistrate concluded,
"This is a serious flaw in her evidence. These contradictions from a young child cannot be ignored, and the court must seriously question her trustworthiness and honesty."
The dramatic increase in child rape includes a marked rise in incestuous rape, particularly in the white community. Baby Susie was allegedly abused by her father from the age of 18 months. Even now, at 4 years, she only talks about it during play therapy. The police investigator needs her statement to counter her father's denial.
Wat het met hierdie varkie gebeur? Okay, sê vir Tannie. Wys vir Tannie waar is die varkie se blommetjie? Daar sy. Sit vir Tannie op hierdie tafel. Okay. Sit op die tafel. Wys vir Tannie. Wie het met jou blommetjie gespeel? Pa. Wys vir Tannie waar is jou blommetjie? Daar is hy. Wys vir Tannie wat het hy gedoen? Sê vir Tannie wat het hy gedoen? En is dit die pa? Is dit die pa? Die pa het ook. Slat hom. Slat hom. Slat hom, die stoute pa. Wat het daar blommetjie?
But Susie's disclosure is still not sufficient to mount an effective court case.
Nou gaan ons nou.
She showed to us what body part of her was played with, what the accused did. But what I need actually is her to show me what the suspect used. Did he use his penis? Did he use his finger? At that stage, did she had clothes on? Did he had clothes on? Did he touch her on her panties or underneath the panties? And that's, she keep on running away from that. As you can see, she's want to play with some other toys if we ask the what happened question.
2.5-year-old Ivy's case is more typical of South Africa's raped toddlers. The police simply refused to investigate her story. She was assaulted by a man who lived next door.
Foreign suspect key, you on. Same time, you on suspect key. Why you ngam fa? But I ngwana diambili. Referral ngwana chikono amba. Yeah. Somebody ma put case anganiji that shit. But I could drop a case. Why drop case? Maporita shira ta case lani double the ngara nari na ula mtu chamfarisa tamlicha the risaka comes in to the god. I just report all the things to the god. Just forget about these people because they are useless.
This epidemic of child rape has hit the South African police force at a time when it is already under pressure. Violent crime has increased dramatically since the end of apartheid, and the force is under-resourced, its staff poorly trained and badly paid. On top of this, many police officers are corrupt. Busi believes she's a victim of police collusion with a rapist. She and her family were forced to flee from their home to a distant shanty town after her daughter Rosie was raped. Now they have to live and sleep in one room with another family. One night last year, Lucas, their friend and neighbor, was found holding Busi's 8-year-old daughter on his naked lap. He was released on bail. His family has threatened members of Busi's family. Busi was attacked and needed 12 stitches to her forehead. Busi believes that her family's troubles have been compounded because she refused a bribe of £600 offered to her in the police station.
Kwakuyiphoyisa laphayana elabhalisa istatement sami elathi sambe sobophulukazi eliphoyisa lelo yilo labuya futhi ekuseni lasho lethu uLucas uthi uzanginikeza 5,000 rand uma sengakhulumisana ukuthi sicime icala. Ngathi mina 5,000 rand ayilingani nempilo yomntwana wami. And vele ngeke izivuke ilingane nempilo yomntwana wami. Naku namanje ngiyavuka ngemsebenzini imali angeke ingenzele next. Impilo yomntwana wami inkulu kabi kunaleyo nto leyo.
The next day when we went to the police station, the police came to us and said Lucas want to drop. He said to want to offer us 5,000 rand to drop the case. And then we said no. What about the child's life?
The station commander investigated the story and disagrees.
I called the policeman concerned, and it was just a problem of communication. While the suspect was there, the complainant as well as the parents of the complainant, that is the victim, and her parents were there. The culprit made the offer. It wasn't the policeman who made the offer. And that is now one of the pillars of the case.
Akuna misunderstanding ukuthi mhlawumbe ngabe uzwe kabi akukho. Wayengitshela into engizwayo ekubeni ukuthi ngangino violating nginomthabi.
The problem of extensive police corruption is recognized by the Mandela government.
There is indeed a lot of corruption, but as I said, I don't want to club everybody and say everybody is corrupt. Some people are doing their work very faithfully and conscientiously, but there is corruption. I think one wouldn't turn a blind or a deaf ear to what the communities are saying, but it's a matter that we're trying to address.
Without serious reform, the police and criminal justice system cannot stem the rising tide of child rape. Generations of South Africa's children will be left wounded and without justice, and the cycle of violence will continue.
I think if he had to walk free, I want him to know that every morning when he wakes up, I want him to fear. I want him to have the fear that my son went through. I want him to relive that fear. That's what I wish upon him. And if the courts are not going to do it for me, if the law once again is going to let me down, the police, the law, the system, then I think his mind will be mine, yes. I will instill fear into him. He must know that what he's done is wrong.
Busi is determined to get justice for her daughter, Rosie. They have waited months for the trial, but their resolve is undiminished. Busi has made special arrangements at a local clinic to prepare Rosie for her court appearance.
Do you know what a court is?
Yes, a court. Do I a court?
Tell us.
In a court.
Court. The court is really a very big room, like this one here. Okay, in the room there sits a man here on his desk. There he sits, and he's the magistrate.
And then we learned that magistrate.
And he's the one who listens to all the stories. And in here is the lawyer.
And then lawyer.
And what is the name of the man who did the silly things to you?
Buti Lucas.
Okay, Buti Lucas is going to sit here with his lawyer.
Buti Lucas uzohlala laphana nelawyer yakhe.
And you and your mummy are going to sit outside here. And this is you.
Wena no mama nizohlala ngaphandle ne?
He's going to ask the social worker to ask you, Rose, what did Buti Lucas do to you? What is your story? And you're going to have to tell the social worker what happened.
So he said he was going to check in his house whether he does have money, and then he said I must come with him. So I went with him to his house, and there, instead of him giving me the money, he took off my panties, and then he played with my vagina, and then he put his penis inside me.
Okay, and it's hard to tell that story, isn't it? And sometimes you may want to cry when you tell the story to the social worker. But that's okay. And you can just tell her you need to wait a little bit. Okay, it's okay to cry there too. And it's okay to be frightened there too. All right. Because lots of little children who sit in that chair get very frightened. And there you go.
Due to her mother's determination, Rosie will have her day in court. But there are thousands of other children whose stories will never even be heard.
If you'd like to talk to someone because you've been affected by child abuse, you can call Channel 4's free confidential helpline on 0800 600 444. Lines are open now until midnight.